welcome back to the channel. This is Trucking Through Life, and if this is your very first time stopping by the channel, my name is Chuck, and in today's video I'm going to be finishing up a series that I've done. This will be the fifth video about financial freedom. So if you haven't watched the other four videos, they're going to be linked in a playlist down in the description. I highly recommend that you go watch those first, because I truly believe in having financial freedom is like building a house. And you don't want to get the steps out of alignment, or you're going to find out that the house just really isn't built that well. And so in this video, I'm going to be talking about how me and my wife over the last 18 years have invested our money. Because ultimately the goal is to make our money make us money, right? I mean, that's why we invest. That's why we're building for a retirement. Your investments, your retirement is going to be your future income. There's going to come a time where you don't want to work anymore. There's going to come a time where you can't physically work anymore. And you want to be able to have a retirement. You want to be able to have that nest egg. And you do that by investing. You can do things through your work. You can do things on your own. And so I'm going to go over some of those today of what we've done over the last 18 years. Now, again, a little bit about me and my wife. We're both 43 years old. We're completely debt free. We have about a $275,000 house that's paid for. We have 2 cars that are paid for. We have everything. We don't send a single payment to a single bank. The only payments that we have every month, or the only things are just natural monthly expenditures, like your electric bill, your gas bill, things like that. So the first thing that we did whenever we said, okay, we need to start investing to our future. We want to get out of debt. We want to be financially free in life. We went through the previous things that I talked about in the other videos. Once we got to the point where we were debt free, everything except for our home, we started putting money into my wife, well, I was self-employed. My wife started putting money into her 401k. And that's something that I would highly recommend people do. But I would only recommend that you put up to whatever your company matches. So if you work somewhere and they say, hey, if you put in 5%, we'll match 5%. You don't want to be putting in 10% if all they're doing is matching is 5%. So you want to do whatever they're going to match. And this is going to be your household income. So if you're single, it's going to be 15% of your income. If you're married, that's going to be 15% of your family's income. So you and your spouse. So if you make $50,000 and your spouse makes $50,000, then it's going to be $15,000 a year that you're going to be putting into retirement. Well, Chuck, can we do more than that? We don't want to do any more than that while you still owe money on your house. So anything above that outside of your budget, you want to be throwing down towards the house. We want to get that thing out of your life. I'm telling you, life is a lot different when you have no house payment. I mean, we'll get over to that in a minute. I want to talk about paying off your house so bad, but I won't go down that road just yet. Okay, so if your husband works somewhere and they do 4%, great. Or maybe you're self-employed and you don't have a 401k, then the next step, excuse me, is to start putting money into a Roth IRA. Highly recommend that you start doing this. If you're in your 20s or your 30s, this is going to be huge for you. What is a Roth IRA? How do I get one? How much can I put into it? A Roth IRA, every year you can put up to, it used to be $5,500. Now you can put $6,000. If you're over the age of 50, you can put $6,000. And basically what a Roth IRA is post-taxed money, meaning you were working, you got your paycheck, the federal government's already taken their cut, the state's taking their cut, and you've got your money. And you can go down and you can invest up to $6,000 a year into a Roth IRA. What's awesome about this is that all the money that this IRA makes, this Roth IRA, that it makes over its entire life that you have it invested, is tax-free. So if you put in $6,000 a year for 10 years, that's $60,000, but it's been growing at anywhere between 8 and 12% a year. And so all the money that you've made, so you've been putting in your money, and all of the money that it makes at that rate is tax-free when you take it out. Unlike a 401k or just a regular IRA, all of its profits are taxable. And so, because it was pre-tax money, they took it out before the government got their hands on it. So whenever you pull it out, that's their money. They want their cut. And how many of you know taxes don't go down, they usually go up. And so the Roth IRA, highly recommend you doing that, getting that started. How do I do that, Chuck? Go down to wherever you're at. I highly recommend you going and using a resource that I've used, and that is go to daveramsey.com, and he's got a place on there where you can click on, and it says, I believe it says Smart Local or Smart Investor Pro, I think is what they call it, Smart Investor Pro. Click on that, put it in your zip code, and it will give you a bunch of people that are in your area that have been vetted by his staff. They make sure that they have a heart of a teacher. They make sure that they understand that they're going to be dealing with people that are debt free, and these people understand that you come into this with some knowledge, and they're wanting to educate you on investing. And that's also a huge tip. Never give anybody money that you don't understand what's happening to it. You are the president of your money. The president of the United States has a national security advisor. They have a secretary of state. They have all these people that are feeding them information for them to make the decision. And so you need to be making the decision on what your money does. Well, Chuck, I don't know anything about mutual funds. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. You don't have to know. That's why you have a financial advisor to educate you on it. And then you make the decision. And so I would highly recommend at that point fully funding the Roth IRA. Now, let's say you and your wife make really good money. You make $150,000 a year, and you've put 8% of you've maxed out what you can do 401k wise. You've maxed out what you can do Roth IRA. Okay, we still have 4 or 5% left. What do we do with that money? The third thing is to put that money into good growth stock mutual funds. You can do that with the same financial advisor that's working with you on your Roth IRA. So you can have the same planner. And I sit down usually with my investor guy. I usually call him about every 6 months. Hey, what's going on? And we meet face to face every year. Go sit down. Me and my wife and the financial advisor sit down. Okay, this is what the money's done this year. They ask has anything changed in your life? Do you have any new goals? That way you can tailor and move around your money that's being invested. Because anytime you invest money, you take on some risk. It could lose money. But that's why I never buy mutual funds. I never invest my money in something that doesn't have at least a 30-year track record. I don't do it. I'm not putting money in a startup. I'm not investing in someone who says, hey, I'm going to open up a couple of Subways. Do you want to invest in my company? No, I don't. I'm not that big of a risk taker from the standpoint of I'm not going to invest in something that I don't have complete control over. So that's why when it comes to our mutual funds, 401ks, things like that, we manage that. I've got someone advising me, but I'm using them. Just like if I wanted to sell my house, I'm using a realtor. They're worth their 5%. I'm just going to do it. They know how to price my home. They know how to get out there and hustle and get it sold and take care of all the paperwork. It's worth the 5%. Maybe you're a person and you do your own investing. That's fine. Do whatever you want to do. But again, if you're not totally at ease with doing that and don't know what you're doing, don't just be giving your money, or you're going to end up like Adrian Peterson, who's made over $100 million, and now the guy has $6 million in debt, and he didn't have any money. Why? Because he gave his money to people and he didn't stay on top of it. And so you want to stay on top of your hard-earned money. So that's how we've invested our money. And once you have that invested, next you're turning towards your home. You got 50% of your budget going into investment. You're paying off, you're doing your monthly budget as far as, your monthly, bills, and then you have all this money afterwards. You'd be surprised how much money you have when you don't send it all to banks. You got a lot of money. And then finally you want to attack your house. Go after that house, pay that thing off. People say, well, why should I pay my house off? It doesn't make any sense to pay my house off. Yeah, it makes total sense. What is your house? Your house, there's one thing that changes every year, and that's inflation. And when you buy a house, you lock in your future cost of living as far as where you stay. And it's the only thing really that you'll have that in most cases goes up in value. It's not like a car that goes down in value. But your house goes up in value. But the thing is you're also paying, 3.5%, 4%. Some people paying more per interest. If you go look at that over 30 years, you pay for the house twice. So if you paid $220,000 for your house, you actually paid like $500,000 for it if you kept that loan over the entire 30 years. Like me and my wife, we had our house for about 7 years when we paid it off. Our remaining balance when we paid off our house, the interest that we were being charged was like $742 a month. That's how much was interest. And the remaining was principal, which was like another like $400. And so by us paying off our house early, we basically gave ourselves a $750, $742, whatever it was, dollar raise a month just by paying that off. There's one thing that's a fact. 100% of foreclosures happen on homes that have a mortgage. Stop thinking about that for a minute. 100% of foreclosures happen on homes that have a mortgage. What happens when you don't have a mortgage anymore? You have 0% of foreclosure. You don't have to worry about it. That's your home. That's your ground. That's your door. That's your garage. That's your, that is your house that you now own. It's going up in value and you're not paying interest on it anymore. You can imagine, I want you to stop and think for a second. Stop and think for a second. If you didn't have a single payment every month, based upon what you make right now, what could you do if you had 0 payments? What would life be like to you? No payments in the world, man. House is paid for, no car debt, no what. What could you do? You think you would sleep better at night? It's just a totally different thing. You think you would have stress? I mean, we all have different levels of stress, but can you imagine the amount of stress that wouldn't be in your life anymore? Do you know that if you were totally debt-free and you had money in the bank, you know what, and you just got tired of working that job that you have, you had no passion for it, you wanted to go do something else, maybe you wanted to go back to school, maybe you wanted to, go do something, did you know that you could? What's holding you back today from being what you want to do? Having the career you want, where it's no longer you get up every day and you feel like it's a job. You just get up every day and it's just, man, it's a part of your life. You enjoy doing it. And sometimes you just go, man, I gotta pinch they're paying me to do this. That's where we all want to be. And when you're financially free, you can do that. Maybe you're someone out there that you just want to make a change. I want to tell you, my friend, there's something about being debt-free that changes you in every way. And I hope this series helps you. I hope this series has been beneficial to you somehow. And that's my goal in all this, is to simply share what me and my wife have done, and hopefully it helps somebody. This next Tuesday, I will be starting a new job. You know, I've enjoyed this last 3 months with my, you know, doing things, my sons, and they've gone to work and back to school and different things like that. And, you know, I'm 43 years old, and, you know, I'm not ready to retire yet, even though I can, and I have been. I just need to get out there and do something. And so I've got a local job that is going to allow me to drive a tractor trailer, something I truly, truly enjoy doing. And, I hope to share some information with that in the future. And so definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're trucking or you enjoy trucking or you're thinking about getting into trucking. And there are a lot of different options once you get your CDL. Lots of options. Just because you go down and get your CDL doesn't mean you have to spend a year out on the road, or you got to spend 6 months on the road to get something and do local. Because the OTR lifestyle, and that's what it is, a lifestyle isn't for everyone. It may be for you, and that's okay. I mean, if that's what you enjoy doing, knock yourself out. For me, it definitely wasn't. It's not something that I wanted to do long term. I'm more of a family man. I like being with my family. I like being with my children. I like being with my wife. I like, you know, being here at the house. I like cutting grass. I enjoy getting out and going for walks. I enjoy having a life. And being an OTR truck driver is not, I mean, for me anyway, was not having a life. And there was no way that I was going to do that long term. And, you know, I think if there's, you know, ever an option that comes about, I wouldn't mind being gone. I could be gone for a week. But finding something here locally that I'll be doing, working 4 days a week, off 3 days, is truly perfect for me. It's something that's going to keep me active, keep me busy, and at the same time making really good money for what it is. And again, I plan on sharing some of that in the future. If you want to see that, hit subscribe. But guys, until I see you at the next video, I hope each and every one of you have a blessed rest of your day. And remember this, life is truly short. Make it sweet. We'll see you at the next one.